Hey, this is Coach John Davis. Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about problem solving and creative thinking. Certainly, business owners are faced with decisions that they have to make every day, sometimes very quickly, sometimes they're larger problems that take some time to concentrate on. And often they are alone or they have very few resources. So, I wanted to share a technique started by or created by Edward de Bono. It's called the 6 hats. It's a way to do some creative thinking in a structured way. So here I'd like to talk about it. So let's talk about first, what makes it hard to solve problems? It can be the emotion that's tied to whatever's being dealt with. It could be urgency, time frame. It could be noise that's going on in our life and distractions that are going on in our business and our personal life, or even just in our own heads. And then, of course, there's the uncertainty and the fear that goes with the unknown of what's going to happen with each decision, and the fact that our businesses, we're making business decisions that impact our livelihood, that impact our families. It can get quite daunting when you have to make a decision. So, what are different ways that we use to solve our problems? There's the analysis paralysis. That's one of my favorite. I like to analyze things. And then often people do that so long, it takes so long, they go with their gut instinct anyway. There's also debate. People like to talk through it, which is really good. If it's structured, sometimes debate escalates into argument. And then argument sometimes just yields to power. The person with the most control wins the argument, therefore makes the decision. Flip side of that is sometimes people will just ignore an issue or wait till it solves itself, which can happen, but ultimately end up using a lot of time. And then sometimes people just do the old coin flip. The one method I learned as a kid is if you don't know, you flip the coin when the coin's in the air, you know which way you want it to land, and then you know what you want to do. So these are different ways you can solve a problem. I'm sure you can think of some others on your own. So the key is, what if there was a process to do it better? And that's where Edward de Bono created the 6 thinking hats. He won a Nobel Prize in 2005, and he's written 70 books. On his website, it stated that he was chosen as one of the 250 people who have contributed most to humanity in the whole history of the human race. That's a pretty lofty statement. I can't tell you who made that statement, but I will say if even just a handful of people thought that about me, I probably would talk about it as well. So clearly, there's some people who are very impressed with this contribution to society. So you can see the 6 hats. We have them at the bottom. There's white, yellow, black, red, green, blue. So let's talk about what they mean. So the white hat symbolizes logic. This is when someone's wearing a white hat, metaphorically, not in reality. They're only sharing the facts. They're just the facts of the case. The yellow hat is about optimism, the sunny hat of optimism, I like to think of. And that's where you talk about the value and the benefits of a certain particular course of action. On the flip side is devil's advocate. The devil's advocate points out the difficulties and the dangers of a certain path. Kind of tied to that is the red hat of emotion, which gives you your feelings and your intuitions. It's where you get to share your gut instincts about a certain path. The green hat represents creativity, where people are looking at the possibilities, new ideas that go into the decision-making process. And then the blue hat is one of structure and management, which kind of governs the process of the hats. So what does this mean? How do you apply these hats? So basically, you use each hat to break down the issue and think creatively. You don't necessarily need a physical hat to put on. And typically, if it's a group, if it's an individual, you can say, okay, I'm going to put this hat on in this moment, and I'm only going to capture these thoughts and ideas. Or it could be a group of people who collectively say, okay, we're going to wear this hat for a moment and look at the problem from this perspective. So again, those perspectives are logic, optimism, devil's advocate, emotion, creativity, and organization. So the way this could be used is blue hat, usually an individual, but some individuals could coordinate a meeting and design the flow of thinking. In other words, what's the sequence of wearing the hats that they're going to use to break down the problem? For example, in this case, they want to start with the white hat, who only shares the facts and the data. In this case, everyone's staying neutral. You're not making judgments. You're not rushing to decisions. Just what are the facts that we know? And clarifying, is it a fact or is it an assumption? Then in this sequence, they can go to the red hat and go to the flip side of the facts and say, what are the emotions? What are the feelings? And this is without judgment, right? It's not, oh, well, that's a bad feeling. Your intuition's wrong. Everybody gets to have their intuition. Everyone shares their thoughts and their emotions on the different options. The yellow hat then talks about the positive outcomes. What could go well if we do option A, option B, option C? And then after doing that, the black hat can then say, okay, well, what could go wrong? And again, everyone gets to wear this hat. Everyone gets to take turns and share what their concerns are without judgment. You share those thoughts and feelings and on the outcome. And then they could wrap up with the green hat, where people are creative. They share the possibilities. What could happen if we combine? What are the things that can be changed? Now that we know what the negatives are and what the positives are, we can think on the issue a little more open-minded. So what are the benefits? These are some of my takeaways on the benefits. The team or the individual can explore the decision in multiple perspectives in a controlled manner. What I mean by a controlled manner is if you've ever been in a decision-making process with 5 people, 5 intelligent, motivated, emotional people, it bounces all over the place. And sometimes people swing from perspective to perspective. In this way, each person gets an opportunity to wear a certain hat and share their thoughts and feelings on the matter. Also, the concept of wearing the hat, in my mind, sort of eliminates some of the finger pointing. Like if somebody makes a negative comment, they're just making a statement on the issue. If even somebody who's in favor of an idea gets an opportunity to talk about a possible negative outcome. And I think in this process, team members very likely will realize they do share a lot of the same concerns, but it's their weighting or their balance or their expectation that moves a little bit. So I think people start to see the shades of gray and can realize they have more in common, their opinions, and in contrast, as opposed to what we see a lot of times in today's world. If somebody takes stance A, then the other person feels obligated to take stance B, even if they're probably very close on the topic. I believe a team will have greater conviction because each team member is now confident that everybody who made the decision is aware of the potential outcomes and risk. Because of that, they can get aligned behind what the issues are and recognize that everybody's aware and looking out for them. It can reduce time. Now, for some decisions, maybe this hat technique is a little over the top, a little bit too much. But if it's a big decision that you've been wrestling with for days or weeks, the value of reaching the decision moving quickly is often outweighed by the loss of time and opportunity because the decision was never made in the first place. And also, I believe that if needed, you can have a better reaction to events and outcomes after the decision because there's greater overall awareness of the situation. For example, if a decision that it turns into something really, really strong, really positive, the team is like, they're not surprised by that potential outcome and likely has the next decisions teed up or ready to make the most out of that positive outcome. Or let's say the decision has led to a possibly negative outcome because all the cases have been talked about and all the other decision options have been considered, they can react and adjust much faster. So let's just use an example here. Say you have the decision, you have the family car needs to either be repaired or replaced. Big decision. Let's say it's mom, dad, grandparent, and maybe an oldest child who's 20 years old or something like that. So somebody gets involved in decisions. So the blue hat would schedule a meeting, get all the right people together to talk about it and decide the sequence. So they may go with the white hat. What are the facts? Well, they'll have the cost to repair, the likely cost to buy, the time frame to repair or buy, and you could probably call the expected lifespan of a vehicle It's an assumption, but you could probably get some average numbers and call them facts. Next, everyone shares their red hat. Maybe someone says, well, granddad says, well, that was my first car. I really don't want to get rid of that car. Someone says, I really like that truck. Maybe someone says, well, the car is very uncomfortable. I really don't like driving it, or I don't trust it, or, the AC doesn't work. So it doesn't work for driving around for work, whatever it may be. Those are emotional comments. The yellow hat. Now we're talking about positives. So you may say, well, a new car is likely to last longer. It's likely to be safer. Maybe it has better fuel consumption. They'll have fewer repair costs in the short term. And then another positive in the other way is fixing the old car may be cheaper now. It may be the lowest cost short-term decision. Then people wear the black hat and say, yeah, but the old car could break down next week. Or another negative, the new car will likely be more expensive on insurance, whatever that may be. Everyone's sharing their negatives with the different options. And then the green hat comes in and people brainstorm what are good things, what makes the most or that takes the best out of each path. In this case, the family may choose to repair the old car, but take the extra money that they would be putting into the new car payment and saving that and setting it aside and agreeing that the next major repair that comes up is going to be the last one, and now they'll have money to go make a down payment. So that is an example of how the hats can be used to look at some problem solving. So again, here's the hats. You can wear them in any order: white, yellow, black, red, green, blue, logic, optimism, devil's advocate, emotion, creativity, and management. So if you found this to be helpful, I ask you to share it with people in your business, other business owners, other business leaders, and try the technique out for yourself. Let me know what you think about it. If you have any questions, certainly you can reach out to me. I'm Coach John Davis. Here's my email address and my phone number, and I would love to hear from you. Thanks. You have a great day.